वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like the desired tree and can fulfill the desire of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Srila Prabhupada Praniti. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatare Satarini. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Rasa Bihari Radha Rasa Bihari Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshmana Bhakta Hanuman. Sita Ram Lakshmana Bhakta Hanuman. Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Your Mangalacharan. So Mangalacharan is also there in the first page of the Bhagavad Gita book. So if you want, you can use that also as your reference. Shri Guru Pranam. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurummilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamsha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मध्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि युक्तैवम् आत्मानं मत्परायणम् अर्जुन उवाच परं ब्रह्म परं धाम पवित्रं परमं भवान् पुरुषं शाश्वतं दिव्यम् आदिदेवम् अजं विभुम् आहुस्वां ऋषयः सर्वे देवर्षि नारदस्तथा असितो देवलो व्यास स्वयं चैवाब्रवीषिमे सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य माम् एकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा सुज यत्र योगेश्वर कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धर तत्र श्रीविजयो भूते ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय I think the screen share is stopped, right?
Yeah, but we can see the text.
Okay, then I will screen. Okay, screen is stopped, I believe. Okay. So we will start our Bhagavad Gita classes. I think devotees are finding difficult to wake up in the morning. Okay, fine. Let's start. So let's just revise the first sloka a little bit before we go to the today's sloka. Anybody wants to recite the first sloka? Who hasn't recited yet?
I'll do that, Danuja.
Yeah, please.
धृतराष्ट्र उवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुस्वः मामकाः पाण्डवश्चैव किं कुर्वत संजय.
So in this sloka, we saw that Dhritarashtra was doubtful about the war, but it seems that they have already assembled in the battlefield and they are ready to fight. That's what it is. Mama Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha. It's already mentioned that they are ready to fight. So Prabhupada, in one of his talk, he made a mockery. Suppose there is a plate of food in front of you and somebody would intend to eat. Is there even a question that uh, that person will eat? It is understood, right, that they will eat. So similarly, the armies are assembled in the battlefield, but then also Dhritarashtra had a doubt whether the fight will happen. Why did he have that doubt?
Because he didn't want
Because he was
to have the
attached to his
compromise.
relationship.
Yeah, that is true. But why particularly he was doubtful about whether the war will happen or not?
Because he
What
had
is
a
the
doubt that
yeah.
it
But
might
what
be
is the first
compromise.
sloka says? Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. Where is the war happening? At a Dharma Kshetra, at a pilgrimage. Kurukshetra is a pilgrimage. So there is an effect of pilgrimage on the people. So Dhritarashtra thought, what in case Duryodhana will go on a compromise? Who is the rightful heir of the kingdom? Is it the Pandavas who are the rightful heir of the kingdom? Isn't it?
Yes,
So
because their father was a king.
exactly. So Dhritarashtra was worried. What in case Duryodhana will go on a compromise and will say there is no necessity to fight, so let me give the kingdom to you. So Dhritarashtra was very much worried about the outcome of this place. So the places of pilgrimage is very, very powerful. So some of us have been in the Dham recently or sometimes in the past. So we know that in pilgrimage, our consciousness is definitely on a higher state. So from a lower consciousness, a person can easily come to the higher consciousness, because a pilgrimage is a place where we can always see the pastimes of Krishna. We can hear about his name, form, qualities that will make us to elevate our consciousness. So sometimes we wonder, it's very, very easy for us to do bhakti in the pilgrimage. But after we come back to our own places, especially places like Mumbai, which is full of passion and ignorance, we are not able to devote our time, our consciousness, as we have done in the pilgrimage. So what does Rupa Goswami says is, in such a case, one should constantly engage in trying to remember the name, form, and qualities of Krishna, and try to associate with the devotees as much as possible, so that being here also we can remain in the same consciousness of the Dham, like Vrindavan or Dwaraka or whatever the Dham that is close to you. We should try to remain in that particular consciousness, which will help us to remember Krishna all the time. Because what is the goal of our life? Is to remember Krishna and to develop the love for Krishna. So that is the place of the influence of this pilgrimage, Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yuyutsavaha, Mamaka Pandavaschaiva, Mamaka Pandavaschaiva. What did Dhritarashtra say here? Mamaka Pandavaschaiva. He separated the Pandavas from the Kuru dynasty. Actually speaking, the son of the brothers is also considered to be your own son, isn't it? Like even Kaikeyi, when she first came to know that Rama is going to be enthroned, she was very, very happy. She thought that Rama can be 1,000 times better king than her own son Bharata, until she was influenced by whom? Whom what she influenced?
Kuni.
Kuni. Yeah. Until then, she was mantra also, we say. She was very, very happy about that. So that is a Vedic civilization where we don't differentiate between our own sons and the brother's sons. But Dhritarashtra's ill motivation is already been depicted through this sloka when he said, Mamaka Pandavaschaiva, my son. What is my son? So he wants to reject the Pandavas from the Kuru dynasty. Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. So he's asking, what did they do? As we said, if they are already in the battlefield, they are supposed to fight, isn't it? So there's no question of feeling this thing. Okay, so we'll go to the today's sloka. And also there was an analogy of the paddy field. So like unwanted weeds are removed from the paddy field. So similarly, the unwanted people or unwanted people will be taken away from this battlefield. So there is a sign that probably Duryodhana may not win, but Dhritarashtra is very hopeful about it, which we will see in the next coming sloka. Sanjaya Uvacha, please repeat after me. दृष्ट्वा
Sanjaya Uvacha.
तु पाण्डवानीकम्
Drishta tu
Pandavanekam,
Pandavyanikam.
व्यूढम् दुर्योधनस्तथा
Yudam
Dam
Duryodhana,
Duryodhanastata.
आचार्यम् उपसंगम्य
Acharya
Acharyam Upasangamya.
राजा वचनम् अब्रवीत्
Raja Vachanam Abravit.
दृष्ट्वा तु पाण्डवानीकम्
Drishtva tu Pandavanikam.
व्यूढम् दुर्योधनस्तथा
Yudam
Dam Duryodhanastata.
आचार्यम् उपसंगम्य
Acharyam upasangamya.
Raja Vachanam Abravit.
Raja Vachanam Abravit.
Drishtva tu Pandavanikam.
Drishtva tu Pandavanikam.
Vyudam Duryodhanastata.
Vyudam Duryodhanastata.
Acharyam Upasamgamya.
Acharyam upasangamya.
Raja Vachanam Abravit.
Raja Vachanam Abravit.
Anybody would like to recite once? Try.
I can do Mataji.
Yeah.
Acha.
Sanjay Uvacha
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Dhritarashtra Pandavanikam
Drishtva tu Pandavanikam.
Yudam Duryodhanastada
Vyudam Duryodhanastata.
Acharya Upasasamaya
Acharyam Upasamgamya.
Raja Vachanam Brivata.
Raja Vachanam Abravit. Would you like to do the word-to-word translation and the translation both? Like Sanjay Uvacha, Sanjaya said.
Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over
Can you
the
also, Shweta Mataji, can you also do word-by-word translation also? Just write
Okay,
Sanjay Uvacha, Sanjaya
okay,
said.
okay.
Yeah.
I said. Sanjay Uvacha, Sanjay said, Dhritarashtra, Dhritra after seeing,
Drishtva.
Drishtva
Yeah.
after seeing, two, but Pandava Anikam, the soldiers of the Pandavas, viewed them arranged in a military phalanx. Duryodhana, King Duryodhana, Tada, at that time, Acharyam, the teacher, Upanasagamya,
Upasamgamya.
approaching Raja, the king, Vachanam, words, Abravit spoke. Abravit spoke.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sanjaya said,
Purport. Yeah.
O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words.
Purport. Uma Mataji, would you like to do?
Ji Mataji.
Yeah.
Dhritarashtra was blind from birth. Unfortunately, he was also bereft of spiritual vision. He knew very well that his sons were equally blind in the matter of religion, and he was sure that they could never reach an understanding with the Pandavas, who were all peers since birth. Still, he was doubtful about the influence of the place of pilgrimage, and Sanjaya could understand his motive in asking about the situation on the battlefield. Sanjaya wanted, therefore, to encourage the despondent king and thus assured him that his sons were not going to make any sort of compromise under the influence of the holy place. Sanjaya therefore informed the king that his son Duryodhana, after seeing the military force of Pandavas, at once went to the commander-in-chief, that is Dronacharya, to inform him of the real position. Although Duryodhana is mentioned as the king, he still had to go to the commander on account of the seriousness of the situation. He was therefore quite fit to be a politician. But Duryodhana's diplomatic veneer could not disguise the that he felt when uh, fear he felt when he saw the military arranged of the Pandavas.
Okay. So, as we saw that, there was, if somebody remember the division of the chapters? We did the division of the chapters. The first two verses talks about setting of the sea. And
Yeah.
then from the verse 3 to 13, I think it talks about the Duryodhana's diplomacy. So the second scene is also, second sloka also speak about the scene, about how the war field, how the Pandava Nikam, how the soldiers of Pandavas have been arranged. Okay. So what does the word Sanjaya means? Sanjaya means destroyer of the inner hate and desire. You can write down this. Sanjaya means destroyer of inner hate and desire. So he is a person who can control his mind and senses. So from such a person, Dhritarashtra expects to tell him the truth. Who is Sanjaya? Is the secretary of Dhritarashtra, right? So it's a very, very heavy post for him, being the secretary of the king. Now, Dhritarashtra is an old man. And if he's really telling the truth, because Sanjaya is blessed by Vyasadev, and he knows that because Krishna is present in the other side, the victory is for sure. But still, he cannot say that to Dhritarashtra because he has to take care of him because he is his master. So he wants to present the matter in a very, very palatable way to Dhritarashtra. Because as a secretary of Dhritarashtra, he understood the mood. So immediately, to encourage him to evade the fear, Dhritarashtra said that the war will happen. Because in the previous verse, he had a doubt. Dhritarashtra had a doubt. Now Sanjaya is giving him the assurance that the war will happen. But he said that he could not say the predicament.
He could not say the
Predicament. What would be the result? He said the war will happen, but he cannot say who will win. As we know that Sanjaya knows very well that it is Pandavas who is going to win because Krishna was by their side. But Dhritarashtra doesn't know about it. What does Dhritarashtra think? Dhritarashtra thinks that I have 100 sons, Pandavas are only 5. And I have Bhishma, I have Drona, I have Kripacharya, and Pandavas don't have anyone. And they were already sent into exile and they were bereft of any land, any people, or anything. So he expected them, not many people to support Pandavas. So he thought that if at all the war will happen, it is just going to be a very easy win for his son. All he wanted to know is whether the war will happen. And he was very, very hopeful that the war will happen. He knows that, but Dhritarashtra, the Kurus, they always try to cause trouble to Pandavas. They once tried to poison the cake for Bhishma. They tried to set the fire in the lakh's house, but all these things did not have any impact on Pandavas. They also did a gambling because of which there was some impact. Draupadi was distrobed and they were sent. And once when they were in the forest, as we all know the story of Akshaya Patra. So Durvasa Muni was sent to Pandavas by Duryodhana to go and have the feast there. But as we all know that Akshaya Patra is something that once Draupadi eats and she washes, it cannot produce any more food. So Duryodhana knows that this Akshaya Patra does not work. So knowing that, after all the Pandavas, they had their meal, he sent Durvasa Muni to them. And what happens now when they are coming to know that this Durvasa Muni has come with 60,000 disciples? So, and Draupadi is very, very perplexed. She doesn't know how to serve them. So she prayed to Krishna, please help me. And Krishna told that, if you have any little bit of food in the patra, you give me. So somehow Draupadi that particular day did not wash the vessel very nicely. So there was a small piece of sad left over in that pot, and Draupadi offers that to Krishna, and Krishna had it. So Yasmin Tushto Jagat Tushto. If Krishna is satisfied, the entire world is satisfied. So Durvasa Muni, along with his disciples, they went to the river to take the bath and come. But while they were in the river and they felt their stomach was already very full, they felt suddenly, as though they have eaten a big feast. And now when Yudhishthira, Bhima called them, please come and have feast with us, they all ran away. Because it will be not good, na? Already, if you have eaten so much, you cannot eat a second feast, right? So they all ran away. In that way, they were all protected by Krishna. So they were protected by Krishna always. But they know that, but they just cannot prove that. They cannot understand who is the reason behind that. And here, Dhritarashtra was still hopeful because Krishna said that he will be just by their side. He did not say that he will fight because Krishna said that he is not going to fight. So Dhritarashtra was hopeful that his sons might win because Dhritarashtra could not understand the power of Krishna. Okay. So now understanding that they had a lot of Maharathas, they had Bhishma, they have Dronacharya and Kripacharya. So now little bit about Bhishma. So most of us know Mahabharat, but still Mahabharat has so many stories. So there is story within a story. Within that story, there is another story. There is side story, this story, that story. But just little bit, let's talk about the Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev is born to King Shantanu. He was born along with the eighth son of Ganga Devi. And it so happened once that Shantanu, when he was just going in the forest, he saw Satyavati and he fell in love with her. And from the time Bhishma Dev understood that, Shantanu was in love with Satyavati, he was very, very morose and he was not happy because Satyavati's father denied to give Satyavati to Shantanu because her son will not be the heir of the kingdom. The condition which Satyavati's father put to Shantanu is if Satyavati is given in marriage to Shantanu, her son would become the heir of the kingdom. So, but Bhishma Dev is already there as a son of the first wife. So, automatically he will be the heir. So, Bhishma Dev promised that he will remain as a lifelong brahmachari. Not only he denied the kingdom, because what in case he denies the kingdom and he gets married and his children, they claim the kingdom, isn't it? So that is always a possibility. So he took a vrata that he will become a lifelong brahmachari. So hearing this, the devatas, they were all so much like they said, Bhishma, Bhishma, Bhishma. His actual name was Devavrata. So because of this vrata that he took, his name as Bhishma is given by the Devatas. Because they were astounded by his thing. It's not very easy to be a celebrate, right, throughout the life. That's why even if we see a brahmachari today in the saffron cloth, we can call them Bhishma. Because they are also taken an oath of being a brahmachari. In Kali Yuga especially, it's very, very hard to control the senses, right? There are so many ways in which our senses are getting agitated. But even in that, if somebody is taking this vrata of being a brahmachari, then we can call them Bhishma. So now Bhishma Dev, once he came to know that the king of Kashiraj arranged a Swayambara for his three daughters, Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. So he went there so that he kidnapped those three daughters to give in marriage to Vichitravirya, the son of Satyavati. So while he was bringing the three daughters back, it so happened that Ambika, she fall in love with Bhishma. She said that you were the one who took me, and so you have to get me married. But Bhishma Dev says that he has taken a vrata and he cannot break the vrata. So now there's Ambika, she goes to Parashuram, and Parashuram is the Sakyavesh avatar. What is Sakyavesh avatar? Sakya Aves avatar means an empowered avatar. Somebody is empowered with a particular power so much. We know that Parashuram, he destroyed all the Kshatriya kings 22 times. So he went to Parashuram because Bhishma Dev learned archery from Parashuram, and he goes and tells her about her desire to marry Bhishma. Now Parashuram also approaches Bhishma and tells him to get married to Ambika, but Bhishma denies. Then there is a heavy fight that is happening between Parashuram and Bhishma. And during that fight, it so happened that Bhishma became very powerful and he was about to kill Parashuram. But Parashuram should not be killed because he is a Shakyaves avatar of Krishna himself. So Brahma comes and he intervenes. Now, please give up this war. Please leave them. You are not supposed to kill him. Then Parashuram, he gets very delighted with Bhishma, and he gives him a boon that nobody can win him, and he can only die if he wishes to die. So that's how he gets this boon of leaving the body by in his own accord. Okay. So this is little bit about the Bhishma Dev. Now, Dhritarashtra knows that Bhishma was by their side. So he thought that the victory is going to be certain. Along with that, there is Dronacharya, Kripacharya. So he thought that his kingdom, his side is very powerful. And Pandavas, so and Yudhishthira, now what happened is now the war is almost set. So Yudhishthira, we know he is a Dharmaraj. He is a very righteous king. So Yudhishthira, he went to uh, Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya and Kripacharya. He offered his obeisances to them and he took the blessings, asking them the blessings that they should win the battle. And now Bhishma was very pleased by the behavior of Yudhishthira. He said that, had you not come and taken the blessings, we would have rather cursed you. Actually speaking, none of you are capable of defeating us. But because you have come here, you have approached us and you have asked us how we can win, we will help you. So Bhishma assures that he will help them. So that is the way in which Yudhishthira won the hearts. So he had a proper etiquette. From Vedic civilization, we can understand how our etiquette should be. So we should always pay our obeisances to the superiors, because Yudhishthira was aware about the superiority of Bhishmadev, his grandfather, Dronacharya, his teacher, and Kripacharya, and they all blessed Yudhishthira. So that is very important even for us to learn from Yudhishthira, that we should always pay obeisances and under to our people who are guiding us and the people who are superior to us. That will help us to progress in our lives. So now Bhishma knows that they are not going to win, but he still, because of Yudhishthir's behavior, he assures them that he will win. So now we can see that in this sloka, Drishtva Pandavanikam Vyudam Duryodhanastata Acharyam Upasamgya Raja Vachanam Aprabit. So Duryodhana was mentioned as Raja. Did he actually become a king? But Sanjaya used the word Raja. Maybe he is the king of his own army, not he has yet to become the king. And Duryodhana saw that he first did not expect the Pandavas to be having a big army. When he saw their military formation, they viewed him, he was very much perplexed. He thought that where did they get so many army from? We thought that they were bereft of land, they were bereft of kingdom, they were bereft of people. So they expected that their army will be very, very small and, you can easily win them. Because in a war, it is always important for a big warrior to understand the strength of the other side. Without understanding the power of the opponent, one cannot make a strategy to win the war, isn't it? So now when he saw their formation, they viewed them, their military formation, they had a very, very nice and powerful military formation. They had formation like that of an eagle, and they had formation like that of a chakra. Chakra will move on both the side. It will go on the clockwise side and anti-clockwise side, like a snake, like a needle. So why do they make the Vyuda? Why do they make that? What is the purpose of making the Vyudam? Because they do not allow the opposite side to penetrate their army. So that is the reason they made the Vyudam in such a way that the opponent cannot get penetrated. So now Duryodhana, seeing the army side of the Pandavas, he didn't expect that. So he got a little bit doubtful. Initially, he was very, very confident about winning the war. But later on, when he saw the strength of the Pandavas, he got a little bit worried. So he is approaching he was approaching the Dronacharya. And he did not approach Bhishma Dev or he did not approach Kripacharya, but diplomatically he went to Dronacharya, which we will see in the following verse. And another reason why he was called as Raja is because Duryodhana was very much aware of the Rajaniti. the political aspects. He was very diplomatic, because in political thing there is lot of sushma, right? Lot of thing on how to win the war. So he was aware about that thing. So that is also the reason why he is called Raja. And another reason why he was called Raja is because he just want to elevate Dhritarashtra, because Dhritarashtra was also a little bit doubtful. He was also not very, very confident. So just to elevate the mood of Dhritarashtra, Sanjaya addresses him as Raja. Now let us understand what is the meaning of the word Duryodhana. Anybody knows what is the meaning of the word Duryodhana? Anybody is aware about that? The Duryodhana, the word means one who fights against the principle of the war. So his very name, Duryodhana, means the one who fights against the principle of the war. And when Duryodhana was born, all the inauspicious sign was manifested. There was a heavy thunderstorms, there were wolves roaring and jackals. They were all making very inauspicious signs. And when the astrologer, he predicted the future of Duryodhana. He said that this particular son is going to destroy the Kuru dynasty. So please kill him right now so that he will not grow up and he will be a reason for destroying the dynasty. But Dhritarashtra, because of his attachment to the son, he did not do it. But he was given a warning about, that's why he was also given a name called Duryodhana. It's not a very nice name, right? Generally, when you're giving the name to the child, you will give some nice names, isn't it? But, and we also know that in the olden days, the names were given based on the quality of the child, based on the astrological prediction. Because as soon as the child is born, the astrological chart is being prepared and there is a prediction about the child's future, how the child is going to be. So based on that, he was given the name as Duryodhana. Even when Srila Prabhupada uh, came into this world, when his astrological chart was consulted, it was mentioned by the astrologer that Prabhupada, at his age of 70 years, will establish 108 temples all over the world. So such a prediction was already made. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was born, when his astrological chart is being consulted, he was also spoken about his spiritual powers. So astrology is a science, but it's a real science, and everything is in astrology is true. Just that today we don't have the astrologers who are very, very good at it, because they are all not very materialistic today, that they cannot really make a proper astrological prediction. But otherwise, astrology is a science that can predict the future. Okay, so now we will go to the next sloka. So is this sloka clear? Is the explanation, is you could understand the purport now properly? So Duryodhana is now doubtful and he is also anxious. So he is approaching Dronacharya. Okay, so now let us do the second sloka of today. Please repeat after me. Pashaitam Panduputranam
Pashyaitam Pandavaputrānam
Acharyam Magatim Chamum
Acharya Mahitim Chamum
Vyudam Drupata Putrena
Vrudam Drupata Putrena
Tava Shishyena Dhimata.
Tava Shishyena Dhimata
Pashaitam Panduputranam
Pashyaitam Pandavaputrānam
Acharyam Magatim Chamum
Acharya Mahitim Chamam
Vyudam Drupada Putrena
Vyudam Drupata Putrena
Tava Shishyena Dhimata.
Tava Shishyena Dhimata
Pashaitam Panduputranam
Pashyaitam Pandavaputrānam
Acharya Magatim Chamum
Acharya Mahitim Chamam
Vyudam Drupada Putrena
व्रूढां द्रुपदपुत्रेण
तव शिष्येन धीमता.
तव शिष्येन धीमता.
Anybody would like to recite?
I'll recite.
Yes.
Pashyatam Panduputraणाम
Pashyaitam Panduputraanam
Acharya Mahatim Chamum
Acharya Mahatim Cham
Yudam Drupatra Putrena
Vyudam Drupata Putrena
Tava Shishyena Dhimata.
Tava Shishyena Dhimata. Okay, word to word translation and the meaning.
Yeah. Pashya, behold, Itam, this, Pandu Putranam of the sons of Pandu, Acharya, O teacher, Mahatim, great, Chamum, military
Cham.
force,
Mhm.
Vyudam, arranged, Drupata Putrena, by the son of Drupata, Tava, your, Shishyena, disciple, Dhimata, very intelligent. O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada.
Purport, Lekha Mataji, would you like to read?
Yeah, Mataji, Hare Krishna. Sorry,
Hare
I got
Krishna.
late to join today.
Okay, Mataji.
Duryodhan, a great diplomat, wanted to point out the defects of Dronacharya, the great
Brahmana.
Brahmana, sorry, thanks. Great Brahmana commander-in-chief. Dronacharya had some political quarrel with King Drupada, the father of Draupadi, who was Arjun's wife. As a result of this quarrel, Drupada performed a great sacrifice by which he received the benediction of having a son who would be able to kill Dronacharya. Dronacharya knew this perfectly well, and yet, as a liberal Brahmana, he did not hesitate to impart all his military secrets when the son of Drupada, Drishtadyumna, was entrusted to him for military education. Now, on the field of Kurukshetra, Drishtadyumna took the side of Pandava, and it was he who arranged for their military plans. After having learned the art from Dronacharya, Dronacharya pointed out this mistake of Duryodhana pointed out this mistake of Dronacharya so that he might be alert and uncompromising in the fighting. But this he wanted to point out also that he should not be similarly
Lenient.
lenient in battle against the Pandavas, who were also Dronacharya's affectionate students. Arjuna, especially, Arjuna especially was his most affectionate and brilliant student. Duryodhana also warned that such leniency in the fight would lead to defeat.
So in this particular verse, so it is shown that he is approaching Dronacharya. Duryodhana is approaching Dronacharya and he is talking about his defect. So to understand the history of this, let us just go through some background of why this defect happened. So Dronacharya was a son of Bharatwaj Muni, and Drupada was a son of the Panchala king, and they both grew up together. And they were in the same Gurukul, and they were very, very close friends. And they were so close that they promised each other that in the future, whatever difficulties they face, they will take the help of each other. So with that, they parted from their Gurukul, and later on, Drupada became the king. Because he was a king, he acquired a lot of land, money, wealth, everything was a lot with Drupada, and he got a little bit puffed up. But Dronacharya, he was a Brahmana and he remained very, very poor. He was so poor that he could not even afford to give a glass of milk to his child. So, remembering the promise that Drupada gave him, he goes to his kingdom and he asks him for the help of giving one cow in the charity. So he says, Dripata, you remember we both are friends and you promised me that whenever we are in difficulty, we will help each other. But Drupada, because he's puffed up because of his wealth, land, and possessions, he got very angry at Dronacharya and he said, friendship only happens with the people who are equal. You're such a poor person and I am a king. How can the friendship happen between the people who are very, very different in their cadre? So he insults Dronacharya and he did not even give him a cow or anything and he sends him back. And Dronacharya was really very hurtful of this incident. And somehow later by providence, he met Bhishma Dev, pointed Dronacharya and he appointed him as the teacher of archery for the Kuru dynasty. So now Dronacharya became the teacher of the Kurus and he was teaching Arjuna and Pandavas and Kauravas. Both of them were under their learning and Dronacharya also learned archery from Parasuram and now his students, they completed their education with Dronacharya and it was a time for them to give Guru Dakshina. So generally the student goes and asks the Guru what they would like to take as a Dakshina, what the Guru likes. Even when Krishna took education from Sandipini Muni, after completing his education, he asked Sandipini Muni what he would like, and Sandipini Muni wanted his son back. So similarly here, Dronacharya says that he wants Drupata live, to defeat Drupata and bring him live to him. Without killing him, just bring him. So now, Duryodhana always wants to utilize whatever opportunity that is available. So he thought that now let me get more points from my teacher. So he immediately says, let me go and defeat Drupada and get him to you. But Duryodhana went and he was easily defeated by Drupada because Drupada is a Maharatha. Who is Maharatha means one who can single-handedly fight with hundreds of 10,000 soldiers. So Drupada was indeed a very, very powerful king and he was such a powerful king and Duryodhana easily got defeated and he went back. So now Arjuna takes his turn and he goes and he fights with Drupata. It was not a very easy battle because Drupata was a very powerful king, but still Arjuna was well learnt in archery. So he defeated Drupata and he drags him and brings him to his guru Dronacharya. And now when Dronacharya meets Drupata, he did not take all his kingdom. He says that, I am not like you who will forget our relation. So I know we promised that whatever we have, we will share it. So I am going to give half my kingdom to you. So he gives back half the kingdom to him. He's just like he wants to take the revenge for whatever happened to him. So Drupada was brought in front of him and later on he gives half the kingdom to Drupada and Drupada went back and he started ruling his kingdom. But he's a Kshatriya, Drupada. Kshatriyas are very, very angered by the insult. So what happened is Drupada, he performed a yajna. Yajna means a big sacrifice through which he begot a son called Drishtadyumna. And when Drishtadyumna was born, he was not born like a small child. He was born out of the sacrificial fire. He came out with a very big chariot and he came with armors and all kinds of weapons with him. So that's how he came out of the sacrificial power. And the voice emerged from the sky that Drishtadyumna is the one who is going to kill Dronacharya. And after Drishtadyumna, who else came from the sacrificial fire? Anybody knows that? If you know Mahabharata, you will know that. Who came out of the sacrificial fire?
Draupadi.
Yes, Draupadi. She's also called Yagnyashini. So Draupadi came, and we all know that who is Draupadi? She is the wife of the Pandavas, particularly to Arjuna. And who is Arjuna? A very dear disciple of Dronacharya. So we can understand how complex is the family life is. now, right? So now it so happened now that Drishtadyumna is empowered to kill Dronacharya, but it didn't stop here. Now Drishtadyumna comes to Dronacharya and he wants Dronacharya to accept him as his disciple. And Dronacharya is aware that this person is going to kill him. But still, that's why it was written that he was a lenient Brahmana. If you remember the purport we read, why a Brahmana is called a lenient, he did not reject him. Because in Vedic civilization, everybody knows that the death is certain. Nobody is going to live forever. So they were not afraid of death. Even though Dronacharya was aware about this outcome, his predicament, that Drishtadyumna is going to kill him, still he taught him the military education. He did not stop him from that. So such is the Vedic civilization. You can see how glorious it is. Today, what do we do first? Anything that we do, what do? We take the copyrights, right? We do not want anybody to copy whatever we want, isn't it? If somebody is, let's say, a very good baker and you want to learn the bakery from them, probably they may have a secret which they will never share. Isn't it, Shweta Mataji?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't want somebody else to learn from you and do the business, then your business will be,
Correct.
it will not go well. Yeah, sometimes, you try to learn something from others. They will teach you everything and you come back and you do, it will not come. Something will be missing because it has been not taught properly because of the fear of losing your business or fear of losing the job or whatever it is. Today, our society is so degraded that we want to copyrights and we are not ready to give even the education that we learn to everyone. But in olden days, they were totally dependent on the Krishna. They were aware about all the outcomes. They did not have fear of death because death is for certain. We all know even here that the death is certain. But in spite of that, people are very scared of death and they want to admit the patient in the hospital, make them live under ventilator, under everything. But is it necessary? Is it really necessary to bother somebody so much? No, isn't it, right? So these are the things that we can understand from the Vedic civilization. So now what is, you can see, Pashaitam Panduputranam Acharya Magatim Chabum Vyudam Drupata Tukta Tava Shishena Dhimata. Here, Drishtadyumna is addressed as Dhimata. Dhimata means intelligence, the one who possesses intelligence. So here we can understand the beauty of the Sanskrit language, that each and every word is full of significance. Why he is intelligent? He is prompting because he is your student, he learned from you, and now he is against you. How intelligent he is. He learned from you, and now he's standing in the opposite side. And whatever you have taught him, with that, he made such a beautiful viewdom that, how intelligent is your student is. So that's what Sanskrit is, such a beautiful language. It is also called the mother of all the language. Even the languages like Latin and everything comes from the Sanskrit. And like how the Roman letters and everything is used in Europe, so Sanskrit is one such language which is used by Devatas. That is why it is called as Devanagari. So this shows the beauty of the Sanskrit language. But whereas in English language, many words, one word will have 2 or 3 meanings, isn't it? But in Sanskrit, each and every word is very, very significant and it just represents, yes, here also there can be 2 or 3 meanings, but the significance of the word is very beautifully explained as Dhimata, Tava Shishena Dhimata. So now Drishtadyumna is there. So be aware, he is ready to kill you because Duryodhana was aware about this defect of Drishtadyumna being the other side, that he is going to kill Dronacharya. So he is warning him, don't be very lenient towards them because they are your disciples. And he also knows that the Pandavas were very, very dear to Dronacharya, especially Arjuna was his very dear student. So he doesn't want him, like how he taught Drishtadyumna the archery by being lenient. Now he wants to tell him, don't show your leniency in the battlefield also. Like the way you show the leniency to Drishtadyumna by teaching him the military education, don't do that with them also. So here Duryodhana is pinching Dronacharya. He's showing his diplomacy, right? He's angering him. He's showing his defect. Now you see what is going to happen to you. So be aware of that. So from this sloka, the diplomacy of Duryodhana is starting. So right in this sloka, we can understand that how diplomatic is Duryodhana is. Like he wants to anger Dronacharya and he wants to pinch him the defect so that he will be aware about that. And that's the reason why Duryodhana first went to Dronacharya and not to Bhishmadev or Kripacharya, because of he being aware about the defect of the Dronacharya, especially with respect to Drishtadyumna. And here also you can see that he was not said as Drishtadyumna. He was called as Drupada Putrena. Why he is called as Drupada Putrena? Because he wants to say him as a son of Drupada. If it is Drishtadyumna, it is very clear that Drishtadyumna is your student. So you will be dear to your student. You will have a soft corner for your student. But he remembered him. He reminded him as a son of Drupada, reminding him of the enmity he had with Drupada. So you can understand how Duryodhana is using the words very, very carefully so that it can, anger Dronacharya and, so he will be fit to fight against the Pandavas. Okay. So this is about this sloka, about the Pashyaitam Pandaputranam Acharya Magatim Chamo Vyudam Drupata Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata. So he says that against all your disciples, why do you have affection towards such a disciple? That's what Duryodhana is asking. See, they are your disciple, they are your affectionate disciples, but now they are in other side. So why do you have affection towards them? You should look at the great military phalanx just to pinch him. So Drupada Putra, he used the word Drupada Putra so that Dronacharya will not become complacent with them. Okay. So we will stop with this sloka. It's almost 7 o'clock. So we will continue the next sloka from the following week. Okay. So any questions from today's class? So there were a lot of stories discussed and a lot of things discussed. Any questions from today's class?
So that Bhishma story which you had said, Bhishma and Shantanu, they were friends or they were brothers?
Oh, they were brothers. No,
Bhishma and
no, Shantanu, Bhishma is Shantanu's son.
Father. Son.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bhishma is Shantanu's son. He was born to Ganga Devi. Shantanu and
Yeah, the
Ganga
eighth
Devi is the
son.
8th son of the Ganga Devi. And he is endowed with a lot of power. But because Satyavati's father did not want to give in marriage of his daughter to Shantanu, because he want his daughter's son to become the heir of the kingdom. So Bhishma took the oath of becoming a lifelong brahmachari.
No, that is what I'm saying. If he was father, Shantanu was father, right?
Mm.
Who wanted the kingdom then?
Then it will automatically go to Bhishma only, no?
No, but then who was Bhishma's brother? Who was the king then?
Then Vichitravirya, who is born to
Vichitravirya.
Satyavati. Yeah, Vichitravirya was born to Satyavati and he became the king by default.
So how Dhritarashtra and Bhishma connected?
Which one?
Dhritarashtra and Bhishma?
Because Vichitravirya's sons, no, they were all Pandavas.
Dhritarashtra and Pandu.
Dhritarashtra, Pandu, they were Vichitravirya's sons.
Vichitravirya son. And Vichitravirya and Bhishma were brothers.
Brothers, yeah.
Okay.
They were like half brothers, if you want to say in today's language. But those days, they don't say that because the king is allowed to marry more than one wife. And they're not considered like Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna. They never considered each of them to be half brothers or like that. No? They were like real brothers. So in the Vedic civilization, they are not considered to be like half brothers. But Bhishma Dev, he wants to get his brother married to nice girls. So he kidnaps them and he comes. So it is during that time that Ambika fell in love with Bhishma and she wanted to marry. And because she is the one who becomes Shikandi, and she's the one who kills Bhishma actually. So because she takes the oath of killing Bhishma, which we will see in the next few classes.
Okay.
So that is why I didn't tell everything today, because Mahabharata has so many stories. So I just gave a background so that we are aware about who is Bhishma. We are aware about the Dronacharya's past life, why the enmity came between Drupada and Dronacharya. So that is the reason why we went little bit inside this purport to understand the background, so that we understand the story much better. I mean, the reasons of fighting or not fighting or whatever it is, we can understand. Okay. So any other questions? So actually speaking, Duryodhana did not expect that they will have such a nice army. He thought that they were already bereft of everything. So when he saw a beautiful army, he became really anxious. So this also shows the fear of Duryodhana. Although they were very, very confident about this entire war, because they wanted this war. It was so many measures were taken to evade the war, but they were very particular this war should happen. Who will be particular for the war should be happen? If you are very confident about winning, right? Suppose you are calling somebody to play a game with you repeatedly, even though the other person is refusing. Why do you call? Because you are very confident about winning that game, isn't it? So Gauravas thought that they will definitely win this war. So that is why they were inviting the Pandavas to fight. But one good thing in this Vedic civilization, the ancient civilization, is they did not bother the civilians in the war. They went to a far off place. This was 100 kilometers away from Hastinapur. And they fought in a battlefield in such a way that the other people are not affected, the civilians. But today, what do? We try to come as a spy, we hide in the trenches, we put the bombs, especially in the hospitals, in the schools, and other things. So that's why today's war is not a dharmic war. So even if you say that I am fighting for my country and I am living my life for my country, but because your country itself is not doing the dharmic war, so the soldiers who are leaving the body in the war field will not obtain the heavenly place, because the Shastra says that the soldier, if he dies because he left his body for the country, he will attain the heavenly abode by default, if it is a dharmic war. That's why in the future, we will see in the second chapter, where Krishna, when Arjuna was not ready to fight, then Krishna is saying, why are you worrying? Even if you win, you will be enjoying the kingdom. If you die, you will go to the heavenly kingdom. So what is the cause of your lamentation, they say? Because for a soldier, it's always a win-win situation, whether he is alive or whether he dies, but he is always glorious. Because the war was dharmic, isn't it? It's not that Pandavas wanted to win against Duryodhana, so they fought. No, it was the other side actually. The Duryodhana was very evil-minded. And as we saw, that his very birth was inauspicious, very inauspicious signs were displayed upon his birth. But Yudhishthira, he was very much loved by everybody. Right from the childhood, he was very, very soft by nature. So he was very, very dear to everybody. So that's why we say even within the child, we can see the character of the child, how the child is going to be in the future. The very first few years of the child decides about their future also. So that's how the nature, the modes of nature that we are all born with, it affects us. But bhakti can change everything. Bhakti can change our modes of nature, and bhakti can transform us. Okay. Any other questions today? Is it clear? All the 3 slokas so far, is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So we are not going really fast, because it's not about finishing the Gita and becoming a scholar. It's about understanding the Gita properly. So that's why we are taking only like 1, 2, or 3, or 4 slokas, depending upon the information that is present in that particular sloka. Okay, so and the first sloka that Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha is a good sloka to by heart. So I want all of you to please by heart. So some of them have already sent their recording. Uma Mataji sent. So if possible, please try to by heart few slokas and please post your recording in the group. That will encourage others also to learn the slokas, because this will help you to preach Krishna consciousness to others. Because when you're talking, when you're saying the sloka that is recited by Krishna to others, that means Krishna is directly speaking to them. Then we are talking the translation and commentary, that is our own words. But when you speak a sloka to others, that means Krishna is speaking to them. So preaching to others through the sloka is a very, very powerful way which can impact the other person. So let us all try to give this Krishna consciousness to others also and become Krishna conscious by ourselves. Okay.
So, Dhananjay, just a quick question.
Yeah.
I just know something like this 108 slokas in Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so is this the first sloka?
Yeah, it is the first
100?
sloka, yes.
Oh, okay.
Dharma
Okay. I
Kshetre
wasn't sure.
Kurukshetre. So wherever the slokas are important, I will mention that so that we can take some efforts to memorize them as well.
Yeah, thank
In
you.
fact, I'm thinking that I will give a couple of weeks, because when we enter the second chapter, no, the slokas comes line by line to memorize. So it might be difficult to memorize all the slokas at one go, but we will keep this. And once we are done with this, after 1 week or so, I will give the next sloka for memorization, so that we can spread out the slokas. At least in a month, we can try to learn 2 or 3 slokas.
Okay.
Yeah. By doing so, within a year, we can complete all the 108 slokas, at least 2 slokas a month. Not, it won't happen. Yeah, in a month, you can at least learn some 25, 30 slokas or whatever it is. But it's nice to memorize a few slokas.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
So, and also, I think you are having the divisions with you, the divisions of the chapter, because they will also help us to understand the chapter much better. So please have the divisions of the chapter with you. Okay, we will do the Narsimha Pranam Mantra.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. How is the chanting going on for all of you? It's going good?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So we should not think that the Kartik month is over. So we may not get as much credit as we got previously, but these months are probably encharging us and surcharging us so that we can perform the devotion properly for the rest of the life. So we are not doing devotion just because we get some benefit. We are doing devotion so that we can develop the love for Krishna. So chanting is giving us the love for Krishna. So just by chanting the names of Krishna, one can develop the love for Krishna. So please make some efforts to chant your rounds, whatever prescribed rounds that you have decided. At least don't miss that. If you do extra, it's fine. But whatever you have decided, whether it is 2 rounds or 4 rounds or 8 rounds or 10 rounds or 16 rounds, whatever sankalp you take, please try to fulfill that. Because by doing that, when you're fulfilling the promise that we have taken to please Krishna, Krishna will further empower us to advance in bhakti. And also, please have a regular habit of reading Prabhupada's book at least for 20 to 30 minutes every day, whether it is Bhagavad-gita or Srimad Bhagavatam or any other books of Srila Prabhupada. Reading Prabhupada's book is also very powerful for us to advance in devotional service. So even if you're traveling, just take a small book with you that you can read on the way, so that we don't waste the time. Because sometimes chanting can get difficult while we are traveling in the trains and other things, but reading can be more easy. So please utilize the human form of life which we got after so many lifetimes. Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. After many, many, many lifetimes, the one with knowledge obtains me. What is that knowledge? Vasudeva Sarvamiti. The Vasudeva is everything. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Such a souls are very rare. So Krishna has chosen us to be a student of the Bhagavad Gita and to take up the Krishna consciousness. So we are already in the path. Like you got the admission in IIT. So what you should do? You should pass the exams and come out, isn't it? So such is the thing. Coming into devotion is more than any IIT for that matter. I'm just giving an IIT because it's one such difficult place to enter in this material world. So like that, devotion is much more rarer. While we are here, let us utilize our time, our kaya, vacha, manasa, our body, mind, and our words to glorify Krishna and to think about Krishna. Okay, now we will do the Namaste Narsimhaya. So, yeah. Is it visible?
जी माताजी.
1 second, I don't know. Namaste
नमस्ते
Narasimhaya
नरसिंहाय
Praladavadadayiने Hiranyakashipurvashaka
हिरण्यकशिपूर्वशः
Shilatampanakalaiye
शिलतम्पालाये
Ito
इतो
Narsima
नरसिंह
Parato
भरतो नरसिंह
Narsimha Yato
यतो
yato
यतो
yami
यामि
tato
ततो
narsimha
नरसिंहः
Bhagi narsimha
बाहिर्सिंह
hridaye
हृदय नरसिंह
narsimho Narsimha madhu
नरसिंहं
sharanam
शरणं
prapatye
प्रपद्ये
Tava
तव
kara kamala varinaka Adbhuta shringa
करकमलवरेणका
Dalita Hiranyakashipu
दलितहिरण्यकशिपु
Tanubhrita
तनुभृङ्गा
Keshavadrita
केशवधृता
Narahari Rupa
नारहरिरूपा
Jai
जय
Jagadisha
जगदीश
Hare
हरे
Jai
जय
Jagadisha
जगदीश
Hare
हरे
Jaya
जय
Narsimhadev
जगन्देव
Jaya
जय
Narsimhadev
नरसिंहदेव जय जय
Narsimhadev
देव
Jaya
जय
Narsimhadev
नरसिंहदेव जय
Jaya Prahlad
प्रभा
Maharaj
महाराज
Jaya
जय
Prahlad
प्रहलाद
Maharaj
महाराज जय
Prahlad Maharaj
प्राणराज
Jaya
जय
Prahlad
प्रभुलाद
Maharaj
महाराज
Jaya
जय
Jaya
जय प्रभुपा
Prabhupada
प्रभुपा
Prabhupada
प्रभुपा जय जय प्रभुपा
Prabhupada Jaya
जय
Gurudev
गुरुदेव
Gurudev
गुरुदेव जय जय
Gurudev
गुरुदेव
Jaya Jaya
जय
Gurudev
गुरुदेव
नरसिम्हा भगवान की
की जय
शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की
जय
Prabhupada ki jai. So this is also an austerity, waking up early in the morning and doing devotion or hearing about Krishna. I know some of you are working, probably waking up Sunday morning may not be easier, but still waking up in the morning and doing the hearing to Krishna, Krishna will be very pleased with whatever austerity that we are doing to him. So let us all listen. But I don't know, last week was better. Today, very few of them have joined. So let us see 1 or 2 classes and see if we will continue in the morning or we'll continue in the evening. Yes, you can listen to the recording, but whatever we are listening in online in the live, I think that has more impact than listening to the recording, isn't it? So let us see how it goes. Maybe another 1 or 2 classes we'll give a try and we will see how these classes goes. Okay. Vancha kalpata rubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण
Hare
माताजी
Krishna. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.